How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. Really happy to, to keeping the light on with the stuff I like to do, So, yeah, listen, happy to talk to you, man. We always have great conversations.
Yeah, well, remember you said this in about 15 minutes, and we'll see if you still agree.
Boxes or briefs? Briefs. Jesus Christ.
So what is it like? One of the things, and we talked in the hallway before we got started, but one of the things is that to make a living as an actor in Hollywood, to get cast in anything is winning a lottery, but to maintain a career is like, it's very, very difficult. What has it been like for you on this journey, which started, I believe, when you were a senior in high school, and to maintain it through basically your whole life?
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing short of a blessing. I mean, as you know, we've heard all the stories. I mean, it's a difficult roller coaster that you embark in, and we always have these conversations of like, the high seasons, the dry seasons, there's a lot that goes into the fact that some things, get trending, and, some things, don't meet pop culture, and then you have to kind of navigate what's the opportunity, what's your strength within that moment in pop culture. I've been very, very lucky that I've had the support of a lot of colleagues that I've been able to partner up and do things that, create ripples. But it's a great question. I think I've been very fortunate to kind of pick some projects that, that have prevailed, that have done some pop cultural things. And I also will to say, not to even sound traditional about it, but the fact that, my fans and my supporters, show up every time that I do something, I mean, it keeps me employed,
Well, yeah.
Let's keep it real.
No, 100%. So I know you are involved with podcasts, and I wrote it down, iHeart's My Culture Network.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about your relationship with them, and why does it matter to you to be a part of this?
Yeah, no, it matters in so many ways, right? You think about the all the analytics and all the new data that explains that the Latino community is not only a fast-growing, population, but has been one of the most consistent and really, massive movements when it comes to like who goes to the movies every weekend, who watches television live, who clicks, who streams, and when you start hearing that the Latino community has been at times in many studies and many, polls that have been disclaimed that the Latino community is almost 70% of the box office every weekend, every first weekend. In the sense that like they are the ones who immediately react to content and actually show up with their families and they support the content. You start thinking like, well, it doesn't reflect on the screen. It doesn't reflect on that. And you start thinking about what other places, what other pioneering places can you venture and create a narrative that's obtainable for that culture to see themselves unapologetically with their cultural selves. And I think the podcasting universe is something that is incredibly fascinating. It's still in uncharted territory when you really think about it. Yep. It's still one of the purest forms of entertainment and opinion, where like you can go out there and not only be yourself, but you can really you can really dream it the way you want to dream it. There's not a lot of people making decisions on behalf of that content. If it's entertaining, it'll actually make it on the air. So coming full circle to it, iHeart and I made a partnership. We have launched a network called My Cultura Podcast Network. We're curating beautiful mainstream stories, that invite every other culture, but it just so happens that the voices are Latinx.
I have this conversation with movie producers and studio people all the time that the numbers for the Latin community that go to the movie theaters, it's just a huge number, and the audience is criminally underserved.
Yeah, I mean, and look, and very rarely you have a place where you can create a new frontier, where you can, somehow tailor it or construct or build a destination where a culture can cultivate their stories and see themselves. And, the tsunami of stories, will not lie, and how reflective of the American experience it really is. And actually, we hope that through a lot of this podcasting, people can see how much we really have in common with one another, and the fact that how many of the things we really do share when it comes to humanity. But I agree. I mean, I think there's a new revelation happening in a lot of the studios, understanding that without really answering the call of this audience, it'll be really tough to sustain.
So I have a million other questions for you, and I'm going to just go on in. Did it take a lot of convincing for you to show up on that 90s show?
It kind of, It didn't. Look, here's the thing. My first thing was, and I think you guys have probably heard me say this before, but at first it was just like, can I still do the voice? I mean, like, do I still have the voice? And the other ones, it's like, would it be funnier if I now show up and have no accent? You know, like, what would be the funniest take? And like, you know, in the conversation with Bonnie and Terry Turner, who asked me to do it, which I would do anything for them. They were the ones who discovered and gave me an opportunity that changed my entire life. So whatever they say, whenever they want to do it, revisiting the character was a great, like, saying thank you to the fans too. Like, who has the opportunity to revisit such a character after so many years? So when they call me and they're like, what do you think he'd be doing? And I say, well, he'd be the Paul Mitchell of Wisconsin. I mean, easy. I mean, why are we talking about this? Why don't you start writing that? And they did it. They made it happen. And then I realized at the first table read, I remember when the first table read was a Zoom table read. And as soon as I said the first word as the accent, everybody was muted. Everybody in every screen was losing it. They were like cheering and whatever. And internally, I'm like, oh God, I still got it. I was very nervous, but it didn't take much convincing because I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful of that character.
Do you think that Fez will make another appearance on season 2, season 3? Or is it like a one-time?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I did it, you know?
Sure.
And I think that it was beautiful. It was a lot of fun, you know? And but I think it's really this kid's show.
Oh, no, 100%.
You know?
But I think that one of the things is like, listen, that 70s show is an incredibly popular show. And so many people, generations basically watched it. So I do think that having that connective tissue, you know, it helps.
Totally agree. And by the way, like, it spoke numbers, right? Like you saw the reaction of the fans and how they showed up for the 90s show was like just the nostalgia of hearing the rumors that we were going to show up. I think created such a fun love story of us coming full circle to it. But at some point we have to kind of recognize it really is a new show, and I'm very proud of this new cast. All these kids are sharpening the tools. By the way, they were way younger than us they're way younger than us than when we started on that show. And so I think they have such a journey ahead of them, and they have such great potential. And you know, the fact that Kurtwood Smith and Deborah Jo Rupp are in there as Red and Kitty, I mean, they can't go wrong.
I completely agree with you. So with NCIS, you join in, I believe, season 14.
Yeah.
What is it like stepping into a show that's been going for that long? And how scared are you the night before the first day of filming, knowing like this is a machine that works and I can't be the one to screw it up? Yeah.
No, you have to be delusional to say yes to that. Like you gotta have some crazy audacity of saying like, yeah, I fucking got this. You know, like here's the thing, man. Like the show, when they first approached me and they made an offer, I told my agents, I think I'm okay. And they're like, whoa, you should really consider this. You know, it's coming from the high ups at CBS. And the reason why I had to reconsider is because, you know, the show is still number one, right? And they were firing out all cylinders. And then I gotta say, like, you know, I felt like I wasn't needed. I was like, I don't think you need me. I'd rather go to a show that actually needs me, somewhere where I can really contribute something. So I had a meeting with the showrunners, and, you know, and the showrunner at the time, you know, rest in peace, Gary Glassberg, he sat across from me and says, hey, we love if you join us on the show. And I said, yeah, I mean, look, I'm taking this meeting to say thank you. I don't understand what I could do for you guys, you know? And they're like, well, you know, and I'm gonna say this, and you know, I've never said it in an interview before, but I'm only giving it to you because I fucking love you so much. But you know, he looks at me, he goes, you know, no one's running after the bad guy anymore. You know, they're still swinging and loving what they do. I mean, that was my first question. I was like, okay, well, is people tired? I mean, what does it look like? You know, it's 13, 14 seasons in, you know, and they're saying, look, the writers are fresher than ever. The actors are still swinging for the fences, right? But it'd be important to understand that the show cannot go on the way it is. You know, so I think all in all, you know, to say that I think that it was for them important that I put a little coffee in their milk.
Well, I think when your show is going on for that long, if you do not insert fresh blood, you know, you have to mix it up. You have to change it up.
For sure. And I think at that time, you know, CBS was doing some big shifts, and specifically when it came to the conversation of what does our shows look like? How do they reflect on our audiences for real? And I think, you know, they hadn't had a Latino character in the history of that show. And even, unfortunately, Cody DePablo, who's Chilean, she had to play an Israeli character. You know, so like to me, like I was like, wow, there's never been a Latino character in the leading cast. You know, so I thought that was an opportunity, and then I said to myself, like, well, okay, well that's an interesting challenge to come back to network television and this type of show would be really fun. And what I did is I created a character that could alter the show tonally and maybe push the show to what does the next 10 years look like for that show? And what is it supposed to feel like? Because, you know, a lot of people underestimate NCIS. I think they look at a show that's now officially 21 years old and they realize, oh, it's the show that my mom and my grandma watch. And the truth is, every 5 years, the show does a tonal shift to the present day that it's performing on. And the writers have done a beautiful job. So when you watch NCIS now, the show that I'm on now with the beautiful Gary Cole, who's now, you know, I mean, come on, like what a come up, you know? And you are gonna feel the show is, you know, just as relevant and is performing on the same grounded basis than any other show.
It's also still very, very, very popular.
Oh my God, we're averaging 7 million viewers live.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Like,
and then by the end of the week, man, we have, you know, probably close to, you know, 14 million by the end of the week, you know, and streamers. And, you know, so, you know, what I'm trying to say is like, you know, last year, the NCIS franchise was watched by 300 million people.
Yeah.
You know, so you think about that. And, you know, and also you don't think about the demo, right? So we're number one in households, right? But we're also number two in 18 to 49. And people don't talk about that either.
But the thing about it is you also, what people don't factor in when they talk about a show is it's not just America that watches these American television. I would imagine that when you go to another country and certain other countries, it's also incredibly popular.
It's beautiful.
And that is one of the reasons why America, you know, it's, well, you know.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, and one of the reasons why that's good business, right? Like at the end of the day, why these shows continue to get picked up and continue to go. And, you know, we're finishing up our 21 season and, you know, still moving ahead.
Everyone who's been coming in, I've been asking the same question, and you're about to get it. If you could only watch one TV show for the rest of your life, what TV show would it be and why?
Oh my God, that's a good question. I'm gonna go with something like really, I don't know how many people are gonna say this. I will say...
I'll let you know if anyone else said it.
Okay, I Love Lucy.
No one has said it.
I say I Love Lucy because there's so many things about that show that made who I am. The tone, the physicality, the fact that a brown man could wear a suit, be that elegant, would re-inspire me again if that's the only thing I was watching. And then, you know, the fact that he was that ambitious and, you know, I have a production company, I have a studio now, I have, you know, multiple productions going, and like all that stuff is incredibly inspiring. So if I had nothing but that show, I think I could rebuild myself again. So I think I would say I Love Lucy for sure.
I actually want to do one more follow-up on NCIS. I'm running out of time with you, but what is it like actually with a show like that? I believe, could be wrong, I think it's 22 episodes? What's the number?
We do 22 a year, yes. Right. This season we did 10 because obviously the strike. But
right. Yeah. But one of the things that people don't talk about is the time commitment it takes to make a show like that. It's like when you sign on for that, that is your life for what, 9-10 months of the year?
It's about 10 months.
Yeah.
And you get 2 months off. I mean, it takes 8 days to shoot one episode. We go straight through. We only celebrate the Monday off of President's Day or whatever it is. We shut down for our holidays, you know, but we go straight through and you do 22 episodes straight up. And, you know, it's a drama. So you are shooting on location, you're shooting whatever. I mean, it's a marathon, and I've had friends that come and do a guest star on the show, and they're like, "How do you do this?" You know, it's a lot of pages, you know, a day, and there's a lot of stuff you have to do, and then I have to do the action, and then I have to do the fight sequences and all that stuff. But
have you? I got to like, I don't know how good you are memorizing dialogue.
Pretty great.
Oh, are you?
Oh yeah, I'm a weapon.
Okay.
You have to be, you know, you have no time.
No, because I was going to say, like, listen, when I hear about Brando on Godfather having cue cards, I'm like, that would have been me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't knock anyone because I mean, how the F do you memorize, like, you know, 60 pages or 45 pages?
One thing is memorizing, bro. Let me tell you the other thing that's crazy. It's memorizing procedural stuff. which it comes in your brain and it goes out and it evaporates. You forget it literally 5 minutes after you said it, because it's just like, Leo Clem, 5'2", 120 pounds, last seen at this corner of this Washington D.C. blah blah, and you're like, and then the next scene you forgot who Leo Clem was, because you're just going, but it's very very difficult to do that, and sometimes there's tricks, some things people put it in a clipboard or whatever, because that stats is hard, but all the way you have to flow, so you kind of have to memorize it.
My thing would be like, listen, let me start the beginning of saying it like, the suspect is cut to my back and I'll VO this. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need me to be on camera delivering a one page.
We're hoping that we're not the first ones on camera, because that way we can screw it up when it's over our heads, because that's where you're gonna get the only practice.
I would literally be begging directors.
No, it's crazy.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't need me. I'm telling you, I could be in the background saying that you VO. Yeah. I also read that you collect cars.
I do collect cars.
Is it Jay Leno-esque?
Yeah, he came over to my house and we did a little work. Yeah, it's not as crazy, but I have right now I have a '67 black Mustang. I have a '51 Merc.
Thank you, NCIS.
Yeah. I got these actually before this.
So thank you, that 70 show.
Yeah, absolutely that. And then I own the 70 shows Vista Cruiser.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, I took the Vista Cruiser from the show. I bought it for $500.
For real?
Yeah, it doesn't run. They were gonna just jump it. I was like, no, I'm gonna take it.
Also because like it's worth way more than $500.
And now, I mean, look, it's they're renting it from me at that 90 show, so it's great. It's great business.
I was gonna say, you are clearing so much money.
I'm killing it.
Like, oh my God. That is a great oh my God.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Like, but how do you make Back to the Future without the DeLorean?
But that's funny because Taylor Sheridan with Yellowstone, he's like the creator, producer, all that. It's his land that all the shows use when they're filming. So he's renting his land to the production and the cattle and everything else at a cost. Yeah. So not only is he getting paid, he's getting
the rent
that money.
paid. Yeah, and also rent is being paid. Yeah.
I mean, it takes money to make money.
That's right.
That's right. Listen, I could ask you a million other things, but I have two other people outside.
I got you.
I have to, but we will continue this conversation.
Yes.
And I really wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you, man.
And I'm so happy that you have managed to, you know what I mean? Like, make it.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that so much. And also, I also want to acknowledge, and I don't know how many people tell you this, you've been such a champion for all of us artists who make stuff that we hope people like and hope people show up for it. And you've been such a voice for all of us who really are passionate about the projects and really are passionate about the trajectory of our careers, and giving you exclusives is the easiest things we can do.
I say thank you, and I will hold you to that. Anyway, good luck with the rest of your South by. Again, wish you nothing but the best.
Oh, you too, brother.